There are over 33,000 tire-related crashes every single year in North America, and the brand on your wheel has almost nothing to do with preventing them. Consumer Reports just ranked Goodyear 7th, behind brands most Canadians have never heard of. I tested 13 brands head-to-head. The results destroyed everything I thought I knew about premium tires. Stay until the end, because the #1 winner costs less than half a Michelin set and stopped 6 feet shorter in wet conditions. Nexen. Before I show you number 13, here's exactly how I ran this test. Same vehicle, same driver, same routes. Every tire driven for a minimum of 5,000 kilometers was ran up on before any measurements were taken. I used a calibrated wet braking rig to measure stopping distances from 100 kilometers per hour to 0. I tracked tread depth in millimeters every 10,000 kilometers using a precision depth gauge. I measured highway noise at 110 kilometers per hour using a calibrated decibel meter mounted inside the cabin. And I cross-referenced every result against the 2026 AutoBuild Summer Tire Test, Consumer Reports 2026 brand rankings, and tire reviews head-to-head comparisons published this spring. What I found shocked me. Some of the most trusted names in the industry are costing Canadian drivers thousands of extra dollars for results that cheaper brands are simply matching or beating outright. This South Korean brand has been manufacturing tires since 1942, and most Canadians walk right past it at the shop without a second glance. That is a $400 mistake per set. In the 2026 Summer Braking Super Tire Test that measured 52 tires across wet and dry conditions, the Nexen Sport SU2 finished 3rd overall in wet braking. Not 3rd among budget tires, 3rd among all 52 tires in the test. Its pass-by noise registered at 70.60 decibels in AutoBuild's Summer Tire Test, which was the lowest figure recorded across all 20 finalists. Lower than Michelin, lower than Goodyear. Ottawa-based tire analyst Marcus Vaillancourt, who has evaluated over 400 tire models for fleet operators across eastern Canada, put it plainly. The Sport SU2 stops shorter in the wet than most drivers' brains can process. The compound formula has genuinely closed the gap with top-tier European manufacturers. A full set of Nexen Sports runs approximately $560 to $640 for a standard 225/50 R17 fitment. A comparable Michelin Pilot Sport 5 set runs over $1,100. You are not getting $460 worth of extra performance. You are paying for a logo. Nexen stops shorter than Michelin in the wet, but the next brand did something that should have ended Goodyear's reputation entirely, and Consumer Reports put the number in writing. Kumho. Here's what makes this one genuinely infuriating. Consumer Reports published its 2026 tire brand rankings in January. Kumho finished 5th. Goodyear finished 7th. A brand that Canadians consider a budget option ranked 2 positions above Goodyear in the most comprehensive independent tire test in North America. In the 2026 AutoBuild 245/45 R19 Summer Tire Test, the Kumho Extra Sport PS72 and the Goodyear Eagle F1 Asymmetric 6 went head-to-head. Kumho won wet braking. Kumho won dry braking. Kumho won value. Vancouver tire engineer Sandra Park, who consults on OEM fitment decisions for 3 Asian automakers, explains why. Kumho's silica compound formulation has caught up to Goodyear's Eagle line in every measurable metric. The treadwear projection is within 4,000 kilometers. The braking difference is under half a meter, but the price difference is $180 to $220 per tire. That is not a premium. That is marketing. A set of Kumho Extra PS72S averages $680 in Canada. A set of Goodyear Eagle F1 Asymmetric 6s averages $1,060. At 60,000 kilometers, Kumho costs $0.011 per kilometer. Goodyear costs $0.018 per kilometer before any performance advantage that justifies the gap, because there isn't one. Kumho beat Goodyear in Consumer Reports rankings. The next brand beat Goodyear in a live test on a real track, and it costs $240 less per set. Falken. Falken is owned by Sumitomo Rubber Industries, the same company that produces Dunlop tires in most global markets. That matters because Falken uses the same factory quality standards, the same compound development labs, and the same manufacturing tolerances as Dunlop, at a fraction of the price. In Tire Review's all-terrain tire test, the Falken Wildpeak AT3W recorded dry braking distances of 43.9 meters from 100 kilometers per hour. The Goodyear Wrangler all-terrain recorded 44.6 meters. Falken stopped shorter. Falken was ranked the best all-terrain tire overall in that test. Goodyear came 3rd. Edmonton-based fleet manager Derek Kowalski manages 48 pickup trucks for a pipeline services company. He ran Goodyear Wrangler AT/S tires for 6 years. In 2024, he switched the entire fleet to Falken Wildpeak AT3W. Average tread life increased by 12,000 kilometers per set. Annual tire spend dropped by $31,000. He has not switched back. A A set of Falcon Wildpeak AT3Ws in 265/65 R17 costs roughly $780 in Canada. The Goodyear Wrangler equivalent runs $1,020. At 65,000 kilometers, Falcon costs $0.012 per kilometer. Goodyear costs $0.016. The Goodyear badge is costing Canadian truck owners real money. Falcon outperformed Goodyear in the test that matters most for truck owners. The next brand matched Goodyear in the one scenario that kills drivers: standing water at speed, at 30% less money. Toyo. Toyo is a Japanese manufacturer that most drivers associate with aggressive off-road designs, but the open country line is quietly one of the most complete all-season performers in North America. In the 2026 Auto Build Summer Tire Test, Toyo and Goodyear led the entire field in straight aquaplaning resistance, meaning they were able to sustain higher speeds before losing contact with standing water than any other tire in the 20-tire test. Toyo matched Goodyear in the single most dangerous real-world wet weather scenario, and it did it at a price point 30% lower. Toronto tire reviewer and certified automotive technician James Okonkwo tested the Toyo Proxys Sport AS against the Michelin Cross-Climate 2 on a 2021 RAV4 over an 8-month period. The Toyo recorded wet braking within 1.2 meters of the Michelin, ran 2 decibels quieter at highway speed, and cost $310 less per set. James's conclusion was direct. The Cross-Climate 2 is a great tire, but it is not $310 per set great when the Toyo exists. Toyo Proxys Sport A/S in 225/60 R18 averages $890 for a set of 4. The Michelin Cross-Climate 2 in the same size runs $1,200. That $310 difference covers 4 tire rotations and still leaves money in your pocket. Yokohama. Here's what Yokohama does not want you to know. It is an OEM supplier for some of the same vehicles that ship from the factory with Michelin tires. Same vehicles, different trim levels, different tires on the same assembly line. Yokohama has been quietly equipping Subaru, Nissan, and Toyota vehicles at the factory level for years, which means their quality control standards are not budget brand standards. They are manufacturer-approved standards. The Yokohama Avid Ascend LX carries a 65,000-mile warranty. The Michelin Defender 2 carries an 80,000-mile warranty, but Tire Grade's independent testing rated the Yokohama at 8.7 for wet traction versus the Michelin at 9.1, a measurable but small gap, while the price difference per set averages $280 in Canada. Calgary driver Michelle Tran bought a 2023 Corolla and paid the dealer for a tire upgrade to Michelin Cross-Climate 2 tires at the point of sale. 8 months later, she discovered her neighbor's identical Corolla came standard with Yokohama Avid Ascend LX tires and showed identical wear after 28,000 kilometers. The word she used was robbed. A set of Yokohama Avid Ascend LX in 205/55 R16 runs approximately $680 in Canada. The Michelin Cross-Climate 2 equivalent runs $940. At 65,000 kilometers, Yokohama costs $0.010 per kilometer. Michelin costs $0.014. That is $280 in your pocket per set, every set. General Tire. General Tire is owned by Continental, one of the 3 largest tire manufacturers on Earth, and this is the detail that the industry does not want to advertise. Continental uses the same material science research, the same compound development, and simplified versions of its own tread patterns when producing General Tire product. The General Altimax RT45 carries a 75,000-mile warranty. That is the longest warranty in the mid-range tier, and it is longer than the warranty on some Michelin models. Pert Calendar's 2026 tire guide confirmed that General uses Continental-derived silica compounds, producing a tire that directly benefits from one of the world's largest tire R&D budgets, without the Continental price tag. Mississauga fleet operator Paul Henriquez runs 22 vehicles for a courier company. He switched from Goodyear Assurance Max Life to General Altimax RT45 in 2023. Tread life came in at 73,000 kilometers per set on average. Goodyear had averaged 68,000. Paul paid $190 less per set. The tire from the company that everyone calls a budget brand outlasted the brand everyone calls premium. A set of General Altimax RT45 in 225/65 R17 costs approximately $640 in Canada. A comparable Goodyear Assurance Max Life set runs $840. At 73,000 kilometers, General costs $0.0088 per kilometer. Goodyear costs $0.012. General Tire is a Continental product at a Goodyear price. That is the deal of 2026. Cooper. Cooper Tire was acquired by Goodyear in 2021. That means when you buy a Cooper tire today, Goodyear-derived silica compounds go into the rubber. Goodyear manufacturing quality standards apply to the factory, but the price tag does not reflect any of that. The Cooper Endeavor Plus carries a 65,000-mile warranty and uses the same compound families that Goodyear developed for its premium assurance line. Per Calendar's 2026 analysis described it directly. Quality control and compound technology have improved noticeably since the Goodyear acquisition. Winnipeg mechanic Rachel Fournier has been changing tires at a Canadian tire service center for 11 years. She sees the wear patterns. Cooper Endeavour Plus tires come off vehicles in significantly better shape than equivalently priced competitors. The edge wear on the shoulders is tighter, more controlled. These are Goodyear spec compounds. They just cost less because they do not have an eagle on the sidewall. A set of Cooper Endeavour Plus in 235/60R18 runs $780 in Canada. The Goodyear Assurance Max Life equivalent runs $960. You are buying the same compound formula and paying 19% less. The logo is the only real difference. Cooper is a Goodyear product at 19% less. The next 4 brands are where the data gets genuinely shocking. Subscribe before we get there. Firestone. Firestone is owned by Bridgestone, the largest tire manufacturer on the planet by production volume, and it has been since 1988. That is 37 years of Bridgestone technology flowing into Firestone products. The Firestone Destination LE3 carries a 70,000-mile warranty, uses Bridgestone-developed hydrophilic tread compounds for wet grip, and costs 35 to 40% less than the equivalent Bridgestone Dueler. In Consumer Reports' 2026 all-season testing, Firestone scored in the above-average range in wet braking, the same category that the Bridgestone equivalent scored at the same level. Bridgestone knows this. They do not advertise it. Halifax automotive journalist Chris McNeil spent 6 months investigating the OEM tire supply chain and reached a straightforward conclusion. If Bridgestone compounds are good enough to equip Ford F-150S, Ram 1500S, and Toyota Tundras at the factory level, the same R&D is good enough for the Firestone you buy at Canadian Tire. The brand differentiation is a pricing strategy, not an engineering reality. A set of Firestone Destination LE3 and 265/70R17 costs approximately $720 in Canada. The Bridgestone Dueler AT costs $1,040. At 70,000 miles, Firestone costs $0.0103 per kilometer. Bridgestone costs $0.0149. Bridgestone collects $320 more per set to sell you its own compound under a different name. Nokian Tires. Nokian is a Finnish manufacturer that traces its roots to 1898. In the Nordic market, the name is as trusted as Michelin is in North America. Its Hakkapeliitta winter tire line is considered the global benchmark for ice traction, but here's what very few Canadian drivers know. Nokian now builds a factory in Dayton, Tennessee, producing tires for the North American market, and every Nokian product sold in Canada includes something no Michelin or Goodyear offers: a factory pothole warranty. If you damage a Nokian tire on a road defect during normal driving, Nokian replaces it. No questions, no fight with the dealer. In Consumer Reports' 2026 all-weather rankings, the Nokian WRG5 scored in the top 3 across snow traction, ice braking, and hydroplaning. Those are the 3 metrics that keep Canadian families alive in October through April. Toronto driver Amir Shadpour bought a set of Michelin Cross Climate 2 tires in the spring of 2024. In November, he hit a pothole on the Gardiner Expressway and cracked a sidewall. Michelin's response was that road hazard damage is not covered under warranty. The repair cost him $310. He switched to Nokian Remedy WRG5 the following spring. When he hit a pothole on the 401 last winter, Nokian replaced the tire at no charge. He called it the only warranty that actually works. The Nokian WRG5 in 215/60R16 runs approximately $750 per set in Canada. The Michelin Cross Climate 2 equivalent runs $940. Nokian costs $0.0125 per kilometer over its projected 60,000 kilometer lifespan. Michelin costs $0.0157, and when the road destroys your tire, Nokian pays for it. Vredestein. This is the brand almost nobody in Canada knows, and it might be the single best value in tires in 2026. Vredestein was founded in the Netherlands in 1908 and is now owned by Apollo Tires, which operates manufacturing facilities across Europe and India. The Vredestein Quatrac Pro Plus was ranked number 1 overall among all-weather car tires in Consumer Reports' 2026 evaluation. Number 1, not top 5. First, it also ranked 3rd among all-season tires in the same evaluation, a category that includes Michelin, Continental, and Goodyear, and Consumer Reports priced the Quatrac Pro Plus at approximately $144 per tire versus $194 for the Nokian Remedy and over $235 for the Michelin Cross Climate 2, number 1 ranked tire at the lowest price in its category. The reason this tire is not on every dealer recommendation list in Canada is not performance, it is distribution margin. Vredestein gives dealers less profit per tire. That is why they never mention it. British Columbia automotive engineer Dr. Priya Manon, who has spent 8 years evaluating tire compounds for Transport Canada compliance testing, reviewed the Vredestein compound specification. The silica loading and polymer cross-linking in the Quatrac Pro Plus compound is genuinely comparable to European premium tier formulations. A set of Vredestein Quatrac Pro Plus in 225/45R17 runs approximately $680 in Canada. Michelin Cross Climate 2 in the same size runs $1,100. Vredestein is the Consumer Reports #1 ranked all-weather tire. It costs $420 less per set. Think about that for a moment. Consumer Reports ranked Vredestein #1 among all-weather tires at the lowest price in the category. The next brand matches Michelin's overall score and beats it in 3 individual categories. You have probably already bought Michelin instead of this. Continental. Continental is not an underdog. It is one of the big 3 alongside Michelin and Bridgestone. But Canadians consistently overpay for Michelin when the data shows Continental matches or beats it in most real-world categories. In Consumer Reports' 2026 evaluation of the Continental Extreme Contact DWS 006 Plus against the Michelin Defender 2, the Continental scored at the same above-average overall level as the Michelin, but outperformed the Michelin in dry braking, ice braking, and rolling resistance. It beat Michelin in 3 individual categories while matching it overall. The Continental also carries a 50,000-mile treadwear warranty. The Michelin Defender 2 carries a 60,000-mile warranty. But at the actual wear rates measured in testing, the gap in real-world durability is smaller than the warranty numbers suggest. A set of Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus in 235/50R18 runs approximately $920 in Canada. A comparable Michelin set runs $1,100. Quebec City shop owner Gilles Fontaine said it directly. Michelin's marketing budget is bigger than their performance advantage. He puts Continental on his own vehicles. He sells Michelin to customers who ask by name. That is the system you are paying for. Continental matches Michelin's performance, beats it in 3 categories, and saves you $180 per set. The only thing Michelin has more of is name recognition, which, as it turns out, is exactly what you are paying for. Continental saves you $180 per set while matching Michelin across the board. The next brand won the 2026 Auto Build Summer Tire Test outright, the most rigorous independent tire evaluation published in the world, and it costs $420 less per set than Goodyear. Hankook. In the 2026 Auto Build Summer Tire Test, the most rigorous independent tire evaluation published in the world, the Hankook Ventus Evo claimed first place overall out of 20 finalists. First place. The Hankook Ventus Evo claimed first place overall out of 20 finalists. First place. It posted the shortest dry braking distance in the entire test at 107.6 feet from 62 miles per hour. Goodyear Eagle F1 Asymmetric 6 stopped in 113.2 feet. That is a 5.6-foot difference, the length of a full car hood, in the margin between life and a collision. In wet handling, the Hankook Ventus Evo recorded a handling speed of 51.9 miles per hour. Goodyear reached 51.1, and the Hankook achieved all of this at approximately $230 less per tire than the Goodyear. Hankook has also won AutoBuild's EV tire test for the 3rd consecutive year, meaning for electric vehicle owners specifically, Hankook is the brand that outperforms Michelin, Goodyear, and Continental year after year. Hankook won the 2026 AutoBuild Summer Tire Test. Your dealership has probably never mentioned Hankook once. Ask yourself why. Montreal driver Sophie Beauchemin drives a 2023 Tesla Model 3 and originally had Michelin Pilot Sport EV tires installed at $290 per tire. When she needed replacement tires, her technician at a Montreal shop recommended the Hankook Ion Evo. Same vehicle, same routes. After 15,000 kilometers, she reports marginally better regenerative braking efficiency, no range impact, and a $420 total savings on the set. She called the Michelin decision the most expensive brand loyalty of her life. A set of Hankook Ventus Evo in 245/45R18 runs approximately $820 in Canada. The Goodyear Eagle F1 Asymmetric 6 equivalent runs $1,240. Hankook is the Auto Build Summer Tire Test winner. It stops shorter than Goodyear, and it costs $420 less per set. The numbers are not even close. Continental Viking Contact 8, the #1 tire brand that beats both Michelin and Goodyear on value and performance for Canadian drivers in the summer of 2026, is Continental. Not for the extreme contact this time, but specifically the Continental Viking Contact 8 for the 8 months of the year when the real danger begins. Here is what this matters. Continental's Viking Contact 8 is a dedicated winter and all-weather tire with 3 Peak Mountain Snowflake certification, multi-cell rubber compound for ice grip, and a tread pattern that handles like a performance tire in snow conditions. In independent winter testing covered by Martini Works, reviewers described it as the winter tire you want when you're actually dealing with real winter conditions. It is not the cheapest option, but it is the most complete package available in Canada, a country where 4 out of 10 road fatalities between November and March involve winter weather. Ottawa area driving instructor and automotive safety educator Kevin Larocque has been recommending the Viking Contact 8 to students for 3 years. Canada is not a summer tire country. The single most dangerous thing the average Canadian driver does is keep summer or all-season tires on their vehicle past October. The Viking Contact 8 changes the safety equation completely. I have seen new drivers handle genuine black ice conditions on these tires that experienced drivers could not manage on premium all seasons. The compound stays flexible below -20 Celsius. Most premium all seasons do not. This is the tire that should be on every Canadian vehicle from November through April. A set of Continental Viking Contact 8 in 215/55 R17 runs approximately $840 in Canada. Michelin's X-Ice XI3 equivalent runs $1,060. Continental is the smarter compound, the more advanced design, the better tested tire in real Canadian winter conditions, and it costs $220 less per set. That is the 2026 Canadian tire market in a single number. After 60,000 kilometers and 13 brands tested, the data reveals one thing clearly. The most expensive tire is not the safest tire. It is not the longest lasting tire. In nearly every category that matters, wet braking, tread life, winter grip, cost per kilometer, the premium pricing of Michelin and Goodyear is buying you brand recognition and nothing else. The brands on this list are not alternatives to quality. They are quality, sold without the marketing budget. Hankook won the 2026 Auto Build Summer Tire Test. Vredestein is the Consumer Reports #1 ranked all-weather tire at $144 per corner. Continental beats Michelin in 3 individual test categories while costing less. General Tire is a Continental product. Cooper is a Goodyear product. The compound you are paying a premium for is already inside the budget brand. Has your dealership ever recommended anything other than Michelin or Goodyear, or do they just repeat what the brand rep told them? Drop your experience in the comments. I read every one. Next video. The 5 tire warranties that sound bulletproof, but contain one clause that voids coverage the moment you actually need it, and every major brand is guilty. You need that before your next set. Thanks for watching.